means to me that haunted nights are purposely getting false positives, meaning their channel and their evidence is staged and fake. To use a flawed device and claim it to be evidence is faking. Beardo's fault. Let's go. Beardos, Weirdos, Balls of Goals, how are you all doing? Today we are talking about a video called My Opinion on Debunkers and the Paranormal / rant vlog. Now my first issue with this video is, Dylan, this wasn't a rant. This was more of a well-crafted argument. It was a lot of word salad, but I see your points, and I think it's important as a debunker that has featured you on his channel once that, you know, maybe some of this is aimed not just at me, but, you know, this is probably aimed at debunking in general, but I assume some of it may be aimed my way. This isn't a rant. This isn't a exercise in saying he's wrong because of blah, 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 blah. This is a let's listen to what somebody has to say that I've made a video on and see if we can argue constructively. I have already watched some of this, and I disagree with a lot of what he said, but I will be disagreeing respectfully, unless he says something really silly. So let's get into it.
Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dylan, and today I'm going to be doing a video that you guys have been asking for a little while. It's about debunkers. So, in the paranormal community, there's a lot of channels out there who their pretty much sole purpose is to try to call out other creators that they think are faking, and they seek to debunk the activity or the evidence that these channels get. And I have some opinions about that. I took some notes on my phone. I'm trying to be as coherent and as succinct as possible, but this might be kind of a longer video, guys. So strap in, get ready, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe if you're new. Let me know down in the comments what you think after you watch the video, and hear me out, because I'm going to make some points, and I've been in the paranormal for the past 11 years, so it's not like I'm fresh into the game and I just came in to do YouTube, you know what I mean? But as I will get into, it's not bad if you're new.
Right, first of all, debunkers. You know somebody is going to pull you up on that. I'm not going to, because I do it all the time. Fakers. But, you know, this isn't an angry style video, so good start.
New to the paranormal and you came to do YouTube, and I'll explain a little bit more about that. I talked about it last week as well on last week's video, so make sure you go back, rewatch any videos on this channel that you may have missed, and guys, let's just get into it. So some of these things that I'm going to address, some of these claims I'm going to address are based on just my experience in the field, comments that I've seen other people make, and also a comment that we got on last week's video talking about debunking and why it's good for the community. So I'm just going to start right off by saying the whole demon thing, I addressed it in last week's video as well. Some people legitimately believe that anything they encounter supernaturally is a demon. Anything left on this earth is not supposed to be here. It's not a human spirit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely true. However, most of the paranormal investigators or ghost hunters, or for entertainment purposes that don't claim for entertainment purposes, they don't believe that. They just use it as a trigger word.
So some people claiming that they've interacted with a demon, that's their belief set. You weren't there. I mean, I'm assuming you weren't there, you know? You weren't there when this person experienced their activity, or I'm assuming you weren't there. So for you to tell them how to interpret their own activity is kind of crazy, in my opinion.
No, it is kind of crazy to assume, right, let's just say the demons are real and that these people believe in demons. Demons, these powerful entities that have never walked the earth. They've come from the bowels of hell. They are the ultimate evil. And all they can do is talk through your phone devices, trigger your REM pods and your EMFs. Or on occasion, give you little cat scratches. It's because of all of that is why the debunkers are shaking their heads. You're already choosing your narrative here. You're not looking at the wider picture of everything else associated. Now, Twin Paranormal don't believe in demons as far as I'm concerned. Everywhere they go, there's a demon, even if there's no demon reported there. And if there's no demon reported there, they'll make up a Skinwalker. And if they're not making up a Skinwalker, they're making up a witch. This is why they get mocked. This is why people shake their heads and say this is absolute crap.
If their belief set says that everything on the earth is a demon, then anything they encounter is a demon. You know what I mean? While on YouTube as well, demon is a huge key word. It does very, very well. So a lot of locations have demon in the title. A lot of locations, like the Sally house, is known to be demonic or said to be demonic.
There are also locations that are pissed at some of these larger channels for claiming them to be demon houses. In fact, Omar, of all people, went to a hospital to say there is no demon at this hospital. Stop saying there's a demon here. And your mate Sam and Colby claimed there was a demon at that hospital, and there wasn't.
The Monroe Demon House. These certain keywords are very good for SEO or analytics on YouTube. Basically, demon tends to do well when you put it in the title. I don't know how else to put that. On the Haunted Nights channel, we don't usually use demon in the title that often unless we're going to some place like the Sally House or the Garnett House or the Monroe Demon House or Mysterious Monroe House, whatever you want to call it.
See, the Monroe House has only had demon introduced into it in the last sort of 5 years since these larger YouTubers have been going there. It was always just the Monroe Mystery House. Demon has been added in since YouTubers have been going there and gained sort of relevance. That's getting ignored here, and it shouldn't be.
Because, I don't know, that's just not what we do. We investigate a lot of haunted houses, a lot of haunted asylums. We don't necessarily believe in demons, but if it's a demon house or a demon asylum or something like that, and it's going to do better, the video is going to perform better just because we put one word in the title, why wouldn't you do that?
And I completely agree with you. In fact, I've done it. I went to a place that the urbexers call the Jumanji House, but the paranormal investigators and the fakers and everyone on the dog else calls the Demon House. And I went there and I titled my video, I called out a demon, because I did. I went into somewhere that is rumoured to have a demon haunting there, and I screamed and shouted at a demon for 4 hours. And a piece of sandpaper moved and we heard a woman's voice. Is that demonic activity? No. Did I lie in my thumbnail? No. Was it clickbait? Well, no, because I did exactly what the thumbnail said. I went to a house for Ghost on Trent and called out a demon. We disproved the demon, but we may have found something paranormal there. May have. We still don't know. We'll never know, because I'll never go back there, just because it's an abandoned property that, as far as I know, keeps getting locked up and people keep breaking back in there. We don't break in, but I don't want to be associated with breaking into houses.
We say in every single video when we go to a demon house, oh, we haven't had any activity that we believe is demonic, but let's see if we can be proven wrong tonight. And still, we always say we don't believe in demons. So as I said last week, in last week's vlog, last week's Dylan rant, I said it's the same thing as being a chef. Like, what if you love cooking, you love food? Would you go in and volunteer as a chef? You don't want to make money, you can't make money doing your hobby? I feel like it's the same sort of thing with the paranormal. Yes, I started out as a volunteer for the...
It's very different, because if a chef loves to cook and his hobby is to cook, and then he goes to a gourmet restaurant as a chef and serves up cold beans on toast, he's not being a chef there. He's giving somebody shite food. The paranormal channels that you're probably going to stand up for here are doing the same thing. They are taking the idea of a paranormal investigation, turning it into an entertainment horror video on a weekly basis, but claiming that it's absolutely a gourmet meal.
The first 7 or 8 years that I did ghost hunting, I would go to these locations, I would hold public events to help fundraise for this location, and then if I did so many events per year, then we had a big group trip that we went on that was paid for by the nonprofit. It was a pretty cool setup, but my time was volunteered, you know? We only began YouTube after being on Destination Fear a handful of times.
And straight away, that then makes me question everything, because Destination Fear are now Project Fear. And while I understand what they say, we go places to see if it scares us, and then through fear if something paranormal can happen. But that's all they do is shout really loudly over devices that are triggered by a gnat fart.
And then working with creators Sam and Colby. We've worked with a few other creators over the years, and this has really allowed us to get a good foothold in the paranormal YouTube community.
So you're way into the paranormal with Sam and Colby and Project Fear, who are probably two of the most famous fakers on the platform, because they've both been caught out numerous times, not just overreacting, but staging and blatantly faking their paranormal investigations. If you're going to throw those names into the hat, then to a degree, via an audience, you're going to be guilty by association.
Because, I mean, we're almost at 100K, which is crazy, guys. We're so close to 100K on the Haunted Nights channel. By the time this is all uploaded, I mean, I think we're going to be like 800 away, which is nuts. So if you haven't already, please go subscribe to the Haunted Nights channel. We're trying to hit 100K. Guys, we're so close. But if you can make money doing what you love, if you love paranormal investigating, if you love traveling, if you love telling these stories of these locations and people enjoy watching you and they want to support you, why wouldn't you do it? It just never makes sense to me that people get so mad that many teams are starting to do YouTube and they're starting to make money doing this sort of thing. I mean, I've said it in the past, but I've lost money.
Right. I know where this is going. People are not mad because you're making money. People are mad because they are making money off faking the paranormal. They are making money off lying to their audience. That's where the anger comes from. And you're going to skirt around that. Now you're going into the whole, I'm losing money. You know, we pay for fuel, we pay for food, we pay for hotels, we pay for locations, editing software, licensed music, and all of that stuff. Well, guess what? This PC wasn't free. I'm still paying for it. The second PC that's over that side wasn't free. I paid $3,000 for that. I paid $5,000 for this one. The 4K ultra wide monitor I paid for. The gaming monitor I paid for. I've got a high resolution monitor up there that I use just for reading chat. The Elgato key light, the other key light, all of the lighting behind me, the actual studio, the power to run the studio, the keyboard, the peripherals, the Stream Deck, the Lumix camera that's up there, the amp, the SM7B microphone, the cloud lifter between the amp and the microphone. None of it was free. This all costs me money. I pay for Epidemic Sounds for music licenses. That's not free, is it? And on top of all of that, guess what? I pay for fuel, I pay for travel, I pay for hotels, I pay for haunted locations. I've got the 4K camera here that I take on my investigations. I've got another camera there. I've got another Lumix over there. I've got devices over there. I've got dead bells. I've got normal bells. I've got REM pods, a Dibbit box that I made, music boxes, spirit boxes, EMF detectors. I paid for most of that. Some of the stuff I have been sent by AppyDroid Development, because they want me to test. But then I've also got another Lumix over there that I use for B-roll because the colour depth is far better than the 4K camera. Tripods, lights, IR bars, IR panels, torches, and all of the stuff that you guys have and buy, I have and I have bought. And then I have a dedicated studio. This isn't just a corner of a room in my house. The whole room is for this channel. Purposely for this channel.
Ever since I started doing social media, I have lost money over the years. It's not like YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and all that is just a money farm.
It's not. It's absolutely not. Some people think that I am rich off the views I get. I'm far from rich.
I don't just go live for a few hours and then I go back to my, my house, my mansion or something and just chill. I mean, that's just not the reality of things. I've talked about it in the Discord.
And neither do I. I come out here, I go live for a few hours, and then I may go and chill with the wife. But if the wife is working nights, I'll end up recording content. I work between 60 and 90 hours a week, every week without fail. Sometimes I work 7 days a week. I'm live most days of the week between the gaming and the hangout streams and then all of the other stuff. I'm always on, I go onto other people's podcasts and the like. So let's not start splitting hairs about who does more or who is busier. Everyone is just as busy as each other. Everyone spends just as much money as each other. And this is a narrative that's forming that I am not liking. Because what you're saying is like, you're spending this money, but debunkers are not. They do. There are debunkers that have travelled from one side of the world to the other to investigate twice in a year.
As well, with the subscribers only a couple times. But that's just not how it is. But on the demon topic, I'm just going to wrap it up with, it could be a demon. It could be something from another dimension, if you guys believe in like the whole multiverse theory. It could be a ghost. It could be environmental changes like a solar flare or an earthquake or something crazy like that that is causing all this.
Why is a solar flare and an earthquake crazy, but none of that other stuff is?
Activity. But really what it comes down to is who experiences the activity. If someone who is super religious and believes that everything is a demon experiences this activity, they're going to believe it's a demon. If somebody who's a hardcore paranormal believer encounters this, they're going to think it's a ghost. It depends on who you are, right?
Right, but you're leaving out the giant elephant in the room there, that most of these people don't have a belief system other than money. They go to all of these locations, they encounter something every week without fail and put out that video, and people drink that in. You're leaving that part out of your argument. You've been investigating for 11 years, according to you. So, in 11 years, you haven't worked out in 11 years that REM pods, EMFs, and all of the stuff, all of the things that these people use do not go off as often as they tell you they are. You haven't questioned that.
Right? And since the investigator is right there, it's up to them to debunk in person. Listening from a computer not at the location. If you've never been to the location, you don't know how it's laid out. Listening from a computer where the audio is compressed or maybe altered in post, you don't know what you're watching. You know.
Yes, I do. When you become as familiar with editing software and compression and things as me and every other debunker on the platform is, yes, you can. Not only that, but the guys you've already mentioned, Sam and Colby, they claimed something at the Ancient Ram Inn. I went to the Ancient Ram Inn and very quickly worked out that they lied. We're up on the second story. There is no way anyone can be outside this window. I stood in the same window and there are two kids looking at me almost eye to eye. There's about a foot difference because the window is ground level on the second floor. But I knew what they did before I went there. But when I went there, it's 100% then I know what they've done.
You know what I mean? There's no possible way to debunk most things on YouTube, especially if you haven't been there, you haven't used the devices that they're using, their apps they're using.
But this is the point. All of us debunkers have used those apps and those devices. All of us. And the reason that we still investigate and don't use them is because, in our opinion, they don't work. We don't tell people not to use devices, but if people say to me, what devices are good for investigation, I'll say, I don't know, because if any of these devices were any good, the paranormal would be the normal, because that device then records the paranormal. Nothing is proof of the paranormal. And I'm sorry to say, Dylan, you use a DR60. You commented back on my video about you guys on the DR60 and said, yeah, we'll look into that. All these months later, you're still using it. So have you looked into it and gone, I don't believe that what he is saying. I believe this thing is talking to ghosts and spirits and demons, even though there is scientific proof and fact out there readily available online to say it's just a broken device.
I feel like you have to really put yourself in their shoes to understand what is going on. You know what I mean?
And this is something else you're not understanding. While some debunkers never started out as investigators, they have started investigating or are now actively investigating. I came from an investigation background and then became a debunker. I've been investigating since 2009. And there is a difference between investigating and the YouTube content I put out. I cut a lot of fluff out where I'm checking for drafts and really boring, mundane stuff. But then you'll see it in the video where I'm like, that door closing on its own there is because of a draft we found earlier.
On the topic of YouTube, too, I've noticed there's a lot of, I call them old heads. I don't want that to be kind of like, you know, mean, but at the same time, I feel like they're stuck in an old mindset. There's a lot of people out there who have been in the paranormal community and they hate YouTubers. They're like, this is a research field. You can't make this an entertainment field. You're besmirching the good name of the paranormal. But if you watch any TV show over the past 5-10 years...
Because they're all dog shit unless it's Uncanny or The Paranormal with Shauna Leary.
I feel like a lot of the investigations are based around fear. You know, people are getting scared. People watch to get scared. Stuff that happens, they kind of have the scary music in the background and stuff. I feel like most people watch the paranormal to be scared.
And that is absolutely fine as long as they know what they're looking at. If people are claiming that their investigations are real and they're not, that is the issue. And that is the issue that all of us debunkers have with these channels.
Or to learn about the history, or both.
But what happens when you lie about the history, like Twin Paranormal do? How many places have we seen channels go to? Mindseed say they're in one state, but they're in another, and they tell this history, and then it gets uncovered that the people telling their real stories are actors. Or in the case of Twin Paranormal, where they're at the specific Skinwalker ranch, and they're in the wrong place altogether. We'll just ignore all of that because it's the debunker's fault. Beardo's fault.
That's just what analytics tell us. Our videos where we do solos in these huge abandoned asylums and we go to these demon houses, those videos tend to do better than videos when we go to small little farmhouses. I mean, sometimes those videos just blow up out of nowhere, but at the same time, there's a trend, you know? But these people that say the paranormal is a research field, it shouldn't be used for entertainment, it shouldn't be on YouTube unless you're researching. If you're a researcher, then you must have field notes, right? Every time you go to a ghost hunt, I'm sure every time you put down a device, you take notes of exact...
Paranormal investigators, proper paranormal investigators that don't upload to YouTube do exactly that. Exactly that. I'll direct you to a gentleman that I've worked with called Kev K. Kev K is a paranormal investigator. He has YouTube and TikTok content, but it's not his investigations. It's about things that are being done wrong in the field right now. There are people masquerading as paranormal investigators on YouTube, and that's not what they are doing. There are also teams that are legitimately ghost hunting or legitimately investigating, but not to a scientific degree. But they don't claim to be investigating to a scientific degree. You're muddying the waters a little bit too much here. Yes, YouTube is an entertainment platform. I am a debunker, but I am also an entertainer. I mean, some of my videos have got me running around in a dinosaur suit for the love, I do gaming streams. I'm an entertainer that happens to debunk. You can sit in multiple camps, so this argument is becoming nil and void. He's been respectful about it, but I completely disagree with where this is going. I know where this is going.
Exactly where it is. How many inches away from a doorway, where in relation to other objects in the room this device is. I'm sure you take notes of the moon phase and dew point and humidity, all this other stuff, just so anybody else can recreate this, right? Isn't that the whole idea behind the scientific method? It has to be something you can replicate.
But you claim that your videos are real paranormal. So why don't you do those things? You should be doing those things. If you want debunkers to take you serious, I mean, you don't care about debunkers. We're just a fly in the ointment to you because we point out you're using devices that are not fit for purpose. But you're using this whole scientific method as some sort of argument against debunkers because some of us investigate whilst not doing it yourself. So you're not just calling debunkers out here, you're calling yourself out here. You're calling yourself just an entertainment channel.
So if you are to debunk it, if you are to go back with the same equipment and you get activity, maybe it could be an EMF spike in a certain area of the room. Basically, what I'm trying to say in a lot of words is that these people that claim to be researchers and they say that entertainers are, I'm going to drop my mic over here, entertainers are ruining the paranormal. I feel like they're not actually doing research like they say they are. They don't have, like I said, these field notes where they denote exactly where they have a device because, I mean, wiring is pretty small. If there's
I'll tell you why we don't have field notes in regards to EMF is because most of us immediately dismiss EMF because there are numerous reports from people far smarter than us out there that have said EMF causes nothing. It is completely random, causes nothing with humans. There is no link between EMF and the paranormal. It's an argument, but it's something a lot of us dismiss. I am not going to pay for 30 East Drive and stand there with a K2 meter that doesn't work, to be blunt, and take readings, spinning it 360 degrees all over the house to take readings off a device that's got 5 different colour lights on it. There's no readings on there.
A little EMF spike that is enough to set up a REM pod. If you put it 2 feet to the right or 2 feet to the left, it may not pick it up. Kind of in that same vein, too, a lot of old heads or debunkers seem to not like devices. They say they are not infallible, they can be easily manipulated, and they can have a ton of false positives. That's the same with call and response, though. If you just go into a building and yell out, "Hello, is anybody there?" or you do shaving a haircut, that sort of thing, that can also be manipulated.
Yes, it can. But the difference is, I have done shaving a haircut in pretty much every location I've gone to, and it's never, ever, ever, ever done it back. Whereas the other side of YouTube, it happens every goddamn time.
Whether people break into these properties that you're investigating at, whether somebody is off camera responding or knocking, these possibilities exist. And I feel like you can't win either way. Because if you get crazy activity, then immediately everybody thinks it's fake. For example, the shadow that we caught at the Winchester Mystery House 2 years ago now, a lot of people said that was fake, but we only had, 4 of us in the house? It was me, Steve, and the 2 guys from the house. Everybody else, all the security was out.
I've never, ever seen a debunker cover that. Why are you laying this on debunkers? If your own community is calling it fake, that ain't on the debunkers. Certainly 2 years ago, I didn't know who the hell you were.
Outside, we were on the 2nd floor. I mean, we lived the experience. If you want to say it's fake, you can say it's fake, but I was there, Steve was there, the guides were there, we know what happened. But similarly to the demon argument, it could be anything. Call and response, responses, a lot of these locations that we go to, they're in populated areas, they're right outside of towns. Some of these are on main streets. If you yell out and you say hello, somebody thinks it's funny to respond, yelling through a window, and then they walk away. Even if you run to the end of the hallway to look out the window, that person may be away by that time. They may have gotten in their car, driven away. They may have been right down the block from...
Yeah, but this is about that Sam and Colby debunk I did. I had to guess. And my point is, that's exactly what happened, and they knew it, and they lied about the layout of the house.
From their homes, they just walked in their house and disappeared. And then you think, oh my gosh, that was a ghost. That was so clear. Basically what I'm trying to say is...
No, That then doesn't fall on the debunkers. That then falls on you, the investigator, to see in your video, this is a populated area. It falls on you to see we're in a populated area. That could have been a person, but we can't see anyone, but just keep it in mind. But none of you do that. A lot of these channels are saying, we're in this area, there's nothing around us. That couldn't possibly be a voice. And then every debunker on the planet does a quick Google Earth search, and you're like, you're in the middle of a town. There's a hotel opposite you. These are responses to certain things I've picked up certain channels for. And this is a word salad and cherry picking.
Is that in person, the investigators, whoever is filming, whoever is doing the ghost hunting, should be the ones to debunk. It's almost impossible, if not impossible, to debunk sitting at home, watching a video that's been edited down, that the audio is compressed, sounds a little bit differently than it has been in person, than it does in person. You know what I mean?
I completely disagree with everything you've said there. You can, even with compression and audio issues, tell a real voice from something in the room. You can tell by the reverb and things like that. You are absolutely just trying to twist a narrative here. Make us look like we're being needlessly horrible because you and your friends are not doing your job properly. If you're claiming to be a paranormal investigator, then you investigate the normal, and then anything that's left over is the paranormal. None of you do that. All any of you guys do is go, oh my God, did you hear that, dude, bro? Next scene.
So if you're a paranormal researcher, if you're an investigator, and you're not taking these field notes, you're not denoting exactly where you put devices, you're not denoting what time you start sessions, what time you end them, in order to try to pick up some pattern, I challenge you to try that, because if you're...
And see, I go to locations, I will make a note of the weather, I will make a note of the time, I will make a note of my mood, how much coffee I've drunk, how much energy drink, all of these sort of things. I will make notes on it. What I don't do is then put those notes into my video, because everyone is going to click off watching a 43-year-old man write shit in a book. Nobody cares. But for my own benefit, of course I do. I have notebooks. My wife buys me things like this. This one hasn't been used yet. At the same point, a lot of the times, I don't need a notebook because my camera records everything. You walk into a house, you say, God, it's freezing in here, the wind's billowing outside. There you go. There's your notes. Stop cherry picking, please.
Saying that entertainers are besmirching the good name of the paranormal. Are you actually researching?
Yes.
Just kind of look in the mirror. Think about that.
We are actually investigating. We are actually researching. Are we researching to a scientific degree? No, because that's the scientific community's job. They don't put their videos on YouTube. I go to haunted locations where people experience specific things. I investigate the same way they do to see if the same things happen to me. And then I come to a logical conclusion, or I don't know what that was. That could be something cool. It is not my fault that when I go to these locations, I don't get the same levels of activity. Why don't I get those same levels of activity? Because these channels are lying to their audience. They're lying to me. They're lying to you. And you sitting there with this smug look on your face, like, scientific, debunkers. You keep doing this, like you're taking the piss out of us, whilst you guys capture paranormal activity week after week. To turn your own words... Look in the mirror. You've been using scientific investigators as your sort of beat-in stick for debunkers, not realising you are shooting down nearly every bit of your own footage and the way that you investigate yourselves.
Another big topic. I have had a few comments over the past years that say Sam and Colby aren't real investigators.
They're not.
Why? Why are Sam and Colby not real investigators?
Oh, where do I start? Because they jump up and down, they scream, they shout, they get location histories wrong. They've been doing the same thing year in, year out for numerous years, have been proven to be fake or to be wrong time and time again, and never learn a thing.
Now, I have one of their crew necks on right now. I have stuff from them in the back. I'm sure you guys have seen in my office if you guys watch my TikTok lives or my...
Oh, there we go. What an unbiased witness you are. Your career is where it is because of Sam and Colby, and you've got loads of this shit in your room. We can just dismiss this entire argument.
Instagram lives or anything like that. But why would you say they're not real investigators?
Because they're full of shit. It's the be-all and end-all. Sam and Colby are not paranormal investigators. They are an entertainment channel masquerading under the paranormal. They are taking what people like Zach Baggins does and, to a degree, amplifying it. Colby was caught kicking a door and going, "Did you hear that door slam?"
I'm not bought out by them. Obviously, I'm friends with them. We've been in videos together. We've hung out before. But we we've done 7 videos with them from 2021 to 2022. And the first few videos that we did with them, they used our equipment. So we didn't rig anything. We showed up to the location, we put the equipment down, and that was pretty much it. Every time we filmed with them, we were on site the same amount of time or longer than them. So they didn't rig anything, they didn't have any time to. So I don't know. We went on a ghost hunt with them. We went on 7 ghost hunts with them. We had some incredible activity. We had quiet times. We had active times. It's a ghost hunt. You know, like I don't know why people say they're not real investigators.
Because they're not. They turn up to locations, the devices that are all, as far as I'm concerned, proven to give false positives go off. They shout, "Oh my God." Colby will give some sort of blank stare into the distance, and then Sam starts the waterworks. They're entertainers and actors. They have been caught out faking numerous times over the years. Numerous times. By tons of people. They're an entertainment channel masquerading as paranormal investigators. And that is absolutely fine, as long as that is what they put on their video descriptions and in the video titles. But they don't. That is where the argument is.
Is it because they're successful? Is it because they have bigger reactions than you would like?
Let's not do the "my dick is bigger than yours" thing. Because they are successful, because it is far easier to go to a location, get your devices to trigger, and then shout it's a ghost. The flashlight trick. You've all done it. You all edit your videos in the same way to shave off a passage of time. That is faking.
I'm not entirely sure. But this idea is replicated not only with Sam and Colby, but a lot of people say other investigators aren't real investigators. What's the quota? Do you have to not get excited when devices go off? We had a few.
You can get excited. I get excited on occasion. But then you have to look for logical conclusions. And if you have no logical conclusion, then, potentially, you've got something interesting. But they don't. It's like they'll get something... Sometimes these people get something profound, and then it's like, next room. Where's the investigation to what just happened? Why are you just suddenly in the next room? And don't give me the whole, 4 hours has passed, because 9 times out of 10, we're watching them on camera just walk into the next room. They've got something. Hey, there's the hook of our video. Move along, pull the next stunt.
A few comments like that on our Farrar video too, saying that we had too big of a reaction when the devices went off and we didn't stop talking, which we get that comment a lot, whatever. Once you edit down a video, it seems like you're talking the entire time, especially when you're in an old, dark building and nothing is happening that night.
Absolutely agree. I spend hours and hours and hours in locations and get an hour video out of it, and people are like, why haven't you shut up? Well, do you want me to release a 12, 13, or in the case of 30 East Drive, sometimes 16-hour video of me just sitting there, looking around? Or then we start having conversations, nothing to do with the paranormal, because nothing is happening and the house feels flat.
Seems like you're talking the entire time, right? Because we don't want to leave huge stretches of time in where nothing's happening, because that's boring. Who's going to watch that? The big thing that we get comments on a lot is about phone apps. People always say that they don't trust phone apps, they don't like phone apps, and we use them in our investigations. We were very skeptical too the first probably year and a half, 2 years or so of doing YouTube. We didn't use phone apps because we weren't sure if we could trust them. However, we started using the apps from Amy's Crypt and Spotted Ghost, and they're very open about how the apps work. Spotted Ghost has a few videos on his channel talking about how his apps work.
He has videos on his channel about how his apps work. That's only his word for it. Now, Parple used to be a debunker, and Parple approached all of the app creators, and the only ones that were honest with him, and the only ones that were sending him stuff that most people don't have access to, were Amy's Crypt. The only one. So that should tell you everything you need to know. I don't have an issue with Amy's Crypt. I don't like their app. I don't think any of the apps are any good for anything. But I don't moan at people that use the app and say, right, obviously it's a quiet night, so we turn in this app on, let's see if we get anything interesting. Oh, that's quite interesting. That is a lot different to, dude, the app said demon. That means this house is haunted by a demon, so I'm going to put a big red handprint on my back, scratches on my back in the thumbnail. Let's put this entire investigation around one word that's come out of the app. That is the difference, and you're going to skirt around that, I imagine.
And these same people that say they don't trust phone apps will use stuff like an Ovilus. The Ovilus is essentially the same exact thing
and I won't use them. They're random word generators. That's all any of these things are.
As the phone app, just in a box of its own that you have to spend $500 on or whatever. So phone apps, I feel like, make it a lot more accessible. They make the paranormal a lot more accessible to a lot.
They do, but they're being used in the wrong way. People have taken it as proof of the paranormal, and it's not. Absolutely not.
More people. So while it's not infallible, no devices are. There's going to be problems with it. But even when you load into the app for the Spotted Ghost stuff, It tells you to put your phone on airplane mode and leave it stationary. So the sensors are not picking up any false positives. I mean, what more can you really do, right?
Not trust an app unless you understand coding and you've looked into the coding. Don't take anything at face value. And this isn't me having a go. If you want to be legitimate in the paranormal field, don't take anything at all at face value, including your own eyes and ears. They can deceive you.
Now, one thing I will say about debunkers, they do good in the community. They are right in some aspects, right? If there's a location where they're just making up stories and they're saying stuff that is totally off the wall and has no basis, I can understand why somebody would want to make a video on that and be like, hey, just so you guys know, this location doesn't have any documentation for what happened here, but I had this happen, or I investigated and I didn't find anything crazy, whatever the case may be. But at the same time, I feel like a location owner is going to know more than somebody random on the internet who has never been to a location, Like if the location owner is lying, I feel like that's kind of on them because eventually it will come out that
It is absolutely on them, and I've recently done a video about this, where Twin Paranormal go to a location and the owner seems to have tacked on a location, and I state in my video clearly for people to hear, that's not on Twin Paranormal, that's on the building owner. Where does he pull this story from?
they're lying about either the activity they have or the history of the location, and that's going to hurt their business name.
Any location that earns money has the capacity to lie about their location to earn more money. Any of them. Again, don't take any of it as face value. You look at the claims they make and then you investigate those specific claims. That then falls on the paranormal investigator. If the channel goes to a house, like a TikTok haunted house, because I know where this is coming from, and you get activity that matches theirs, but they've been proven to be fake and the history to be wrong, then that team that has gotten that activity have clearly and obviously staged that. And you're skirting around that. This is one of the most one-sided vlogs about the paranormal I've ever seen. This isn't a rant. He hasn't ranted, but he has given a very one-dimensional approach that sticks up for him and the type of people that he works with. And it stinks.
I can see the argument if somebody's blatantly faking activity, but they're saying this is 100% authentic, real paranormal activity, then some people might get kind of mad. I feel like a lot of people do get into the paranormal, like watching paranormal videos or watching the TV shows because, personally, I feel like I'm into it kind of because I want to know there's something out there, right? My family members, my friends who have passed on, I want to know that there's something after and they can still interact with us,
Yeah. Exactly that. And that's exactly why I do what I do. And if that is the case for yourself, then you should be livid at these people faking. You should be raging at the people that are bringing out these videos that are giving the paranormal a ridiculous name. So your argument here would be that you're a legitimate paranormal investigator, or you claim to be a legitimate paranormal investigator. You should be every bit as annoyed as me or any other debunker when people are faking, lying, and caught out. You should be.
And having my near-death experience in 2021, it's really intrigued me because my life could have ended when I crashed my car. Could have been it. Would it have been just a black screen? That's it, I'm done? Or would I have gone somewhere? Would I still be able to interact with my friends and my family? What happens? It's just something that's always interested me. I grew up watching the TV shows. I grew up having activity in my house, and I don't know. It's always been interesting to me. All right, I'm going to try to speed run these last few things because recording, I'm already at like 18 minutes. Oh, I look so short here. That's crazy. The camera's kind of high. But one of the comments that I got on last week's video, the gentleman who commented said that he has done debunking videos because people use the word skinwalker. There's only one place that has ever been called a skinwalker place, Skinwalker Ranch.
No. It's the Navajo tribe. And the Navajos were all over North America and I believe even southern Canada. So there would be a massive, massive area. The problem is the people are saying there are skinwalkers in the UK. There never has been, there never can be.
But I did some Google searching. My expert source on the matter, Wikipedia, says that skinwalker is a Navajo word. And this word, this verbiage kind of stretches from Arizona to Canada. So there's a whole swath of land where the Navajo inhabited and they would have talked about skinwalkers. How are you going to say that only one farm or one ranch has skinwalkers if the Navajo inhabited this entire area?
He is absolutely right there, but the issue becomes when a paranormal investigation team like Twin Paranormal say they're at a specific Skinwalker ranch and they are not. That is where the issue comes from. It's people lying about the locations. Again, this seems to be cherry picking.
As I said previously too, Demon does pretty well for videos. If you put Demon in the title, generally it does decent. It does better than it would without Demon in the title, I feel like. In our experience so far, at least, that is rang true for the most part. Skinwalker is a similar word. And if you have activity where you think you encountered a Skinwalker, who am I to tell you that that wasn't a Skinwalker?
I mean, it's the common sense approach for the most part, and you have to take into account that the Navajos are pissed that their religion is being used for horror stories on YouTube.
Am I going to say, no, that was Bigfoot? Am I going to start an argument over something like that? I wasn't there. I don't know what you encountered. I don't know what you saw. If you caught it on camera, great. But if you didn't, because that happens a lot, we had a ton of activity that happened off camera that we couldn't have in the video. But, like, how am I going to tell you how to interpret your experience?
You've had a ton of activity. I've been at this a long, long time. I live in a house where there's activity on occasion. I don't have a ton of anything. I don't have a ton of experiences. And anyone, you know where I'm going.
Experience. That is the main thing I feel like I'm going to repeat in this video, as I have already. How am I going to tell you how to interpret your experience? You were there in person. You know the layout of where you are. You know who was there, who was not. If you think you encountered a Skinwalker, you think you encountered a demon, I wasn't there. Who am I to tell you that you did not?
But what about when we catch them with a third person? Or what about when we catch them with string? Or we catch them with masking? Catch them with editing techniques? Catch them where you hear the overlaid sound snap on? You hear that buzz kick in? You seem to be, again, cherry picking.
And as I kind of touched on earlier, people want to be scared and entertained. Are you going to watch a full 8-hour ghost hunt of nothing happening? Sometimes we'll film for 15, 16, 17 hours just because nothing is happening that night. We need enough for an hour and a half or an hour-long video. But
Yep.
I feel like 99.99% of the people on YouTube aren't going to watch a video where nothing happens for 10 hours.
Absolutely they're not. And YouTube is an entertainment platform, which is why we put B-roll and pieces to camera in our videos. You seem to be using the scientific community as some sort of weapon against debunkers. We are not investigating scientifically. We are investigating the claims that people like yourself are putting onto the platform. So we look at your investigation techniques and we break those investigation techniques or your equipment down. If I wanted to be a scientific paranormal investigator, I would have done parapsychology in university and I wouldn't be on YouTube. You go out, not you specifically, but the paranormal channels go out, they set up specific videos, put out specific content with very specific claims for public consumption. And as the public, I am more than entitled to look at that and say, this is my opinion on it. Or, I've spotted this in that video. I happen to record my reactions. Doesn't make me evil or bad. And you people need to stop seeing us as evil or bad. If you want to be taken seriously, then try to work with us instead of against us. And not putting out something like this, which is a very one-dimensional, you're not a scientist. Neither are you. None of you. You're entertainers. All of you. I'm an entertainer. At least I'm fucking honest about it.
That's just not fun. I mean, if you would, let me know down in the comments, because, I mean, I can start doing more static cams or something. But one of the most popular comments I had on the static cam videos is, this is cool, I get the concept, it's a great idea, but it doesn't interest me. And that's, you know, it's a preference for everybody. I feel like YouTube is mainly an entertainment app. They come here to be entertained. They come here to be intrigued. Learning about ghosts and seeing paranormal activity is just a bonus.
The problem is most of the channels that you associate with, that's not what they do. They are entertainment, but they add things in to look like paranormal activity, and you're skirting around that.
You know, when I sit here, people can barely make it through an hour of minimal activity. I mean, it's just facts. If you guys make ghost hunting videos, you know about YouTube analytics, you will notice that if nothing is happening in the video and you're staying quiet, you're trying to listen, you don't want to miss anything that could happen. If nothing's happening the first 20 minutes, people are going to start dropping like flies. Everybody's going to stop watching.
Yeah, but still, that's the good, honest content. That's why I have so many investigations on my channel when nothing happens. The Ouija brothers have made a career out of it. It's honest investigating. And it's not what you guys are doing.
And retention, click-through rate, all that is super important on YouTube if you want to be successful. And
It is. So instead of overreacting to mundane devices bleeping and flashing, throw some nice B-roll in there. Nice bits to camera talking about the history. You can absolutely put out a video where nothing happens and be successful. Absolutely. It's rare, but it's honest and it's hard work. And it's far harder than going out with all of the flashing, bleeping devices you can, throwing them everywhere with no care or concern to the paranormal, and then jumping about and shouting and screaming and dude broing because something has flashed. I could go out with all of this equipment, not trigger it myself, get the random fluctuations got nothing to do with the video, they've got nothing to do with the calling out, and just jump and scream. And people will drink that shit up and think that that is how the paranormal works. But then when they go out to investigate and they wait for that to happen and it doesn't, guess who they're pissed at then? The people that they've watched. Why is my device not going off as often as theirs? And don't give me the 16 hours bullshit, because I've gone to locations for hours and stayed overnight and I've left my devices on and they have not triggered a single time. Most of my videos, there are devices in them. I just don't point them out because they haven't gone off. So why draw attention to them?
have your videos do well. So, I mean, if nobody's going to watch the video, if it's not entertaining, they're going to remember that too. They're going to remember that the last video you uploaded, nothing happened. It was super lame. You guys didn't talk for 90% of the investigation. Nothing happened. They're not going to want to watch again. You know, they're not going to be a returning viewer.
Fair comment, but there's a big difference between nothing happened and, oh my god, REM pod's gone off, it's a ghost, it's a demon, it's a skinwalker, which is what a lot of the people you associate with do.
I'm sure you guys have noticed on the Haunted Nights videos, if it is a super quiet night, we tend to narrate a little bit more. We tend to tell more jokes. We try to piece together what is going on. Whatever activity we had that night, we try to make connections. We just kind of like talk ourselves through it, right? And we get a lot of negative comments about that because they say we talk too much, and if we listened, then we would have gotten more. But sometimes places just aren't active.
A lot of the times when people say they've actually had something paranormal and profound happen, it's when they're not paying any attention and they're not investigating. But yeah, it'll make a shit video.
It's quiet. You know, places have off nights. They could be tired. They could be not home. I don't know what it is, but sometimes it's just quiet, and that's nature of the beast.
Or it's not haunted, potentially.
All right, second to last topic here. I'm going to try to breeze through these. Like I said that like 5 minutes ago, but I swear I'm almost done, all right? So one big trend I've seen recently is debunkers want to go on ghost hunts with paranormal investigators. They want to see that the content is authentic and true, but at the same time, they're going to make videos on it no matter what. It doesn't matter if they went on a ghost hunt with you or not.
I've been on plenty of investigations I've not made videos on.
They're making videos on it. They've never been to these locations. They've never been on a ghost hunt with these creators that they're bashing. And I'll get to that in a second.
Right, we're not bashing the Well, we are, because you're a bunch of liars. Let's call it as it is. You're starting to get at my nose now. The reason that most teams don't want a debunker going near them is because we'll stand there and say that REM pod's gone off because of a two-way radio or your mobile phone or there's a taxi going past. And that doesn't fit your narrative. Not you specifically, but most of these channels.
Second, I know bashing is kind of a crazy word to use in debunker fields, or when speaking about debunkers, I should say. But why would I pay for someone to join me or arrange a collab with somebody who goes out of the way to denigrate our character and have them run an investigation? That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't.
I don't know a single debunker that does that. Every debunker I know goes with a team to a location, and specifically me. I will turn up to the location with the team and they'll say, how do you want to run this? I'll be like, you've invited me, investigate your way, and I'll go along with it. I will go along with it, and then if you want feedback, ask me, and I will give you my feedback. This, again, is a one-dimensional, cherry-picked response. This is not how any of the debunkers I know work.
It doesn't matter if you split the cost or whatever. I could invite somebody else that is one of my friends that I like investigating with, that has similar views in the paranormal.
Or somebody that will say, yeah, that DR60 is absolutely not broken. That's why it costs $3,000, because it gives you false positives and everyone knows it.
And we think we would have a good collab together. Like, why would I do that? Why would I invite a debunker out just to, I don't know, like sit on a moral high ground and be like, yeah, I ghost hunt with debunkers. The debunkers know I'm true. Who cares? We do public.
Some people do care. See, I only watched bits of this the other day, and I thought you were being far more respectful than you are. Now you're behaving a bit pissy. You don't have to take a debunker with you to be more legitimate, because I guarantee the reason you won't take a debunker with you is because we'll poke holes in everything because you're full of it. As soon as that DR60 comes out, But every debunker on the planet will roll their eyes and say, we've seen Beardo cover a video on it. You responded to that video, said you'd look into it, yet you still use it. You're getting false positives on purpose. That means that you are faking. And I'm sorry, this may hurt your feelings, but the fact that you are still using that device after all this time with all of the information that is available to you means to me that Haunted Nights are purposely getting false positives, meaning their channel and their evidence is staged and fake. To use a flawed device and claim it to be evidence is faking. 100% faking.
Events where one of the most popular things that people say is, wow, you guys are exactly like you are on the videos in person. You guys are exactly the same. And I mean, we've told it many, many times on streams and videos. Sometimes nights aren't active. That's how it goes. The YouTube videos are just a highlight reel. You know,
sometimes it's quiet. That's just how it goes. That's the opposite of how the paranormal works in everybody that I know's experience. It's rare. It's very rare. Sometimes there will be something interesting, not the other way around. And that tells me everything I need to know about you right there.
You know, if nothing happens at an event except 3 or 4 different things, if you cut that down into a highlight reel, it looks like it's crazy. Every single room you walk into, there's
3 or 4 things in one night. You lucky bastard.
REM pods going off and DR60s are getting clear responses.
I have never heard a DR60 give a clear anything. Even your own voice is distorted to shit. It does not give a clear anything. It's a broken toy.
But that's just not the nature of paranormal investigating. Sometimes it's quiet. And if you're not out in the field getting the reps in, you wouldn't know that.
But I am out in the field. I do get the reps in. The most famous haunted house in the UK that is, you can visit, 30 East Drive. I've gone there 4 times. I'm going again this year for 2 nights, 3 days. Don't tell me I'm not putting the reps in. I drive 6.5 hours to get there. The last time I went, I took an 1.5-hour detour to pick up another investigator to take there. And then I had to pick somebody else up once I got there from a train station the other side of the town. And then do it all again the next day backwards. And I'm doing it again this time. And we have numerous teams coming with us across the 2 nights so they can experience the place. So don't tell me that I'm not putting the reps in. I've paid for that location. I pay for that fuel. I pay for that food. I run around collecting other people. So don't tell me I haven't put the reps in, because I have.
A little bit more on the filming topic too. When you film with somebody, someone has to run the investigation, especially if you guys are filming together, right? Creators have different ideas on what they want to do. We've had it in the past when we film with friends and we have a different concept for what we want to do that night, but somebody's got to give, right? For example, if we're filming at an asylum and there's 8 stories of known spirits in certain hallways, we want to hit these 3, and the friend that we're filming with wants to hit these 5. We can't do both. We want to film.
Yeah, you can just split up
for 7 hours because we want to get some sleep before we head to an event or something. They're planning on filming for 20 hours. Like, that's just not compatible. You know what I mean? When you do an investigation, when you do a collab with somebody, if you guys are both filming, you're both trying to get a video out of it, someone is going to have to cede. You guys are going to have to make some sort of agreement. So if I take a debunker on a ghost hunt, how is that going to work? Are we not going to use equipment because they only want to do call and response?
No. You investigate the way that you would, and we observe and interact with you. I went to 30 East Drive with a team that used all of the equipment and spirit boards and crystals and all sorts. I didn't mock them. I joined in on it. And then when they asked my opinion of these things, I told them my opinion on these things. They weren't hurt by it. They took things on board. Some things they disagreed with, some things they did agree with, like the human pendulum. Went to 30 East Drive with a witch, and the Ouija board is active. And I'm like, that's your belief system. Ideomotor effect and your belief system. They weren't upset by that. They didn't agree with that because they didn't technically have anything to hide. The people that get pissed at us and the people that are like, don't bring a debunker because they're going to give logic and all the rest of it, it's because they've got something to hide.
Are we going to travel to a location? Are we going to pay for a location? Have them fly out, pay for half, whatever the situation is. Are we going to do all that and then make concessions to make our video not us? You know what I mean? Like, the people that watch Haunted Nights, they watch for a reason, whether it's our personality, whether it's the evidence that we've captured in the past.
I have never seen you guys capture evidence. I've seen you misidentify things. But I've watched very little of you guys. Not because I dislike you. Of all of the American teams I've watched that I've called out, you were the politest. You seemed to be open to what I was saying, but then didn't change a thing. But, I mean, you guys are far less offensive than any of the others. You're not as over-exaggerated as the others. Yet you seem to be hurt by the fact that, what, debunkers have really covered you guys? This is a strange, strange thing to be watching.
Whatever the reason may be, that's going to change the entire trajectory of the video that we're making. So why would we do that? Why would we change our entire style, our entire, thing that has gotten us this much success over the past 3 years?
It's called bullshit. But what has gotten you this success is the DR60 giving you false positives. Therefore, bullshit has got you the success. And that's why you don't want a debunker near you.
Just because somebody doesn't believe. And the final thing I want to say...
And there we go. Just because somebody doesn't believe. Kenny Biddle doesn't believe. The Side-Eye Guy doesn't believe. Wilder Mr. Gree doesn't believe. I believe. The Sheep believes. Crow of Judas believes. Mythos believes. We believe in the paranormal. We just don't believe in the paranormal bullshit that is spewed out on YouTube nearly every day of the week by people like yourself, Twin Paranormal, Sam and Colby. And as soon as you pull that DR60 out, you are feeding into our argument against you. Absolutely. You can't then put out a 27-minute rant, because it's not a rant, it's a formed argument, but this is the most one-dimensional hit piece I've watched in some time. Whilst you're polite and you're not ranting, this is a one-sided hit piece.
A lot of people say they watch debunkers because they're funny or they're entertaining, but isn't that like one of the root things that they always complain about?
No. The root thing we complain about is stupidity, false positives, staging, outright lying. And every time you say the word debunker or debunking, you've got this little grin on your face, like you're better than me or you know something I don't. From your very one-sided argument here, I have forgotten more than you know about the paranormal. Yes, this is coming across harsh now, but you've got this stupid grin on your face and you're like, debunking. What, because we look at the scientific and the logical approach to the paranormal, want some truthful paranormal, that's laughable to you? Why is it so ridiculous to you that that is laughable to us? It should be laughable that you can capture paranormal activity every week without fail. That should be laughable to you. Now, while you may not capture paranormal activity every week without fail, your friends do.
There's entertainers ruining the field, but people watch you because they're entertained. I don't get it. Yeah, that seems kind of hypocritical. I don't know.
That argument is a nothing burger. You've gone to the drive-thru, you've had a Big Mac, please. They've given you an empty box, and you've gone, where's my food? Yes, the debunkers are entertaining. In fact, at the beginning of this video, I said, I'm an entertainer. Hence the gaming, hence the comedic skits, hence the parodies. All of the debunkers do other things other than debunk because we are entertainers. Everyone on YouTube, no matter what they do, are entertainers. Unless it's like, this is how you fix a carburetor on a Chevy Impala. Step by step. But as soon as they put a bit of background music in, and as soon as they do like some cuts and nice B-roll shots around the car, that has even turned into an entertainment video to a degree. So that argument is completely nil and void. I don't think anyone complains about you guys being entertainers. It's the fact that you're masquerading as paranormal investigators when what you really are is a thrill-seeking entertainer.
Using other people's hard work, travels, editing, all of that just for a reaction video is just kind of crazy to me. Like I said at the very beginning of the video, this person sits in their house, sits in their room or whatever. They pull up a video, they find things to nitpick and say, that noise could have been this, that noise could have been this device was close to this, that fridge could have made a noise. I don't know if that fridge is on, but it could have kicked on and turned on that REM pod.
And these are all things that you should be doing as a paranormal investigator. You claim to be a paranormal investigation channel. You should be doing those things. And when you don't, you're damn right the debunkers are going to call you up on it, as is their right. It's a public platform. You put your content out for public consumption. We, the debunkers, are the public. You are the public. And we can do with as we please. We can have opinions, and we can form opinions, and we can have truth and scientific logic, critical thinking. Something that is sorely lacking across most of the paranormal on YouTube. This argument is absolute bullshit.
You weren't there. You don't know. And if you respond in kind to debunker channels in the past, a lot of my friends have been on debunker channels. And if they respond basically trying to defend their hard work, saying we don't fake stuff, we're authentic, like it's kind of rude what you said, they're known as being rude, unprofessional, Like, you just get a whole litany of responses to you, and then you're known as toxic.
Right, but I made a video on you guys. You guys responded, and I pinned your comment and then said, what a breath of fresh air to have a pleasant interaction with someone. Are you now going to mention that, or are you going to keep this your one-dimensional mudslinging thing here against debunkers?
I'm not entirely sure why you would be toxic for trying to defend your name, because like I said, to make a video, there's a lot that goes into it. You'll notice that we have a couple repeat locations on the Haunted Knights channel, because there's...
So there we go. He's skirted over the fact that he's had interactions with me, or somebody on his channel has, and it was very pleasant. He has skirted around that to say, but, you know, they've called certain people toxic after their interactions. Do you know why we call them toxic after their interactions? Because they do 4.5-hour live streams calling people wife beaters and things. Or we're illegally doxxed, or we get death threats. That's when we say toxic. Or when, for example, Mindseed fans were calling me a big fat old man and stuff like that. That's where the toxic comes from. But you've skirted around the fact that I was very, very nice to you guys, even though I know you're full of shit.
There's only so many haunted locations in our area and in the areas that we can get to. Like I said, YouTube isn't a money farm, and I've lost money doing social media the past 4 years or 3 years, however long it's been.
We all have. Most of the debunkers investigate. So this entire argument is, again, a one-sided hit piece. Either you don't know and you haven't watched anything and you're just spouting off because debunkers are trending a little bit after recent arguments and dramas, or you're cherry-picking to give a one-sided hit piece. And I'm starting to think it's the latter, because you have had an interaction with me. That interaction was very pleasant and you've left that out. This is a hit piece.
But these places cost money to rent them out, to get food, to get lodging, to travel there, whether it's flying, whether it's driving.
I knew it was coming.
May be. And I don't know, dude. It's frustrating to go through all this work, and then I don't even do the editing for the Haunted Knights channel. That's all Steve. But the editing, all the time and effort, not only filming but editing, purchasing the editing software, spending money on the songs for the trailers, or
again, all of this stuff paid for. I pay for music licensing. I pay for cameras, batteries, memory cards. Everything you pay for, I pay for. And I'm not streaming or recording off what looks like your phone, yeah? I'm in a purpose-built studio in my home. Again, a one-sided hit piece.
For any sound effects that are used in like the history portion. All of this costs.
Freudian slip, maybe? But all of these things I do. I pay for all of the things you have just listed. Every single one of them and more.
Money. And for somebody to sit at home and make a video reacting to it and basically just tearing it down, it just kind of rubs me the wrong way. I don't know, dude.
Guess what you're doing right now, Dylan? You were sat at home tearing debunkers down with a one-sided argument. You're cherry-picking things, weaponizing certain words and phrases, and giving the quotations with a stupid smirk on your face. You've just done what everyone I've ever come up against has done. You have accused us of something, complained about something, whilst doing the exact same thing. You are sat in your house, in front of your PC or your phone, whatever it is, and you have made a video berating and one-side arguments against content creators. You are doing the thing that you seem to be really pissed at me for doing, or other debunkers for doing. And that's exactly what you were doing here. And from what you said at the beginning of your video, you did it last week as well. Pot, kettle.
But I don't know. I'm rambling at this point. This video that I'm recording is already over 30 minutes long. So I'm going to try to cut it out here. It is like 2:45 in the morning, guys. It is Wednesday, 2:45 in the morning.
It is 12:35 in the afternoon for me.
So if this goes up at 11 a.m. Eastern, guys, drop a comment, drop a like, say, wow, that's incredible. Drop a wow, that's incredible.
I'd be tempted to drop a, wow, you are so full of shit. This is, I'm sorry, but this is a hit piece. A very one-sided hit piece. He's left stuff out, he's added stuff in, and debunkers. Terrible.
It's incredible.
Absolutely terrible.
You uploaded on time, something like that. But I don't know, guys. What do you guys think about debunkers? Personally, I'm not a huge fan. I understand there's a demand for the content. People watch the content. They
Fine, fair enough. I will fire back with, I'm not a fan of fakers in the paranormal field masking as paranormal investigators. That's what you are. That's what you do.
enjoy the content. They think it's entertaining. But at the same time, I think it's kind of crazy that people are making a living. They're making money sitting at home and basically just tearing down someone else's hard work.
You're making a living going out and pretending ghosts are real. I'm not saying ghosts are not real, but they certainly don't behave the way you portray them to. And anybody on the planet can do what you do. Anybody can buy a camera, buy a REM pod, buy a K2 meter, buy a trip rope, or whatever the other devices that are in season are, can go out to a location, but not everyone will get those devices trigger. Anyone can buy a DR60 and get false positives. And that is where the problem is. The problem is people are buying these things knowing they're getting false positives to trick people into thinking they've got paranormal activity in their videos when they don't. That's what you do. What people that use the DR60 and those other devices that are proven to be flawed but then claim it to be the paranormal is grifting. It is absolutely grifting. And you have the audacity to sit there in your house complaining about people, sitting in the house making videos, ignoring the fact that 90% of the debunkers go out and investigate. You got the cheek to do that and then complain about money when we all spend the same money as you do. We all hire locations like you do. You skirt around all of that and then have the audacity to come out with this bullshit.
It doesn't matter if you don't like the person filming. It doesn't matter if you think what they're doing is fake. If you have no concrete evidence, you're just saying, I think this is fake. It's just crazy to me. I don't understand. But
that's crazy to you. What's crazy to me is people that can conjure up paranormal activity every location they go to. That is crazy.
Long story short, like I said, I feel like debunkers do have a place in the community. They can be very essential in making sure that the proper history is recounted.
So what you're saying is debunkers can only be used in the field and are only welcome in the field as long as they don't impact you and your style of investigating that is inherently flawed. Your whole argument is boiled down to, debunkers are needed as long as they don't touch me in the way I do things. Only go after people that lie about locations because I don't do that. Hit piece.
And if someone is blatantly faking and saying this is 100% real activity and they can prove that, they see fishing wire or they see,
which we do,
a device being placed next to a walkie-talkie and the person hits the walkie-talkie or something.
You don't have to place it next to a walkie-talkie. You can be 3 rooms away and key a walkie-talkie and it will set off a REM pod. A taxi half a mile away can set a REM pod off.
Something crazy like that. Okay, I get it. You want to call that out. You want to make sure people know that, right? But at the same time, watching a full-length paranormal investigation where you don't see anything that is faked, but you think this could be another thing, that could be the wind, that could be someone upstairs, that could be someone else in the building. You don't know. You're just saying you think it could be this, but you...
It's the logical approach. The field will never, ever move forward without a logical approach. And all of you people using flawed equipment and jumping about and screaming and shouting, lying about history and all of those other things are holding the field back. That's why the debunkers are pissed off. And do you know why the debunkers are growing? And do you know why the debunkers are getting the support that they're getting? We're all newer channels than all of these investigation channels, and we are growing. Do you know why we're growing? Because there's a public interest in it. Because people are interested in the truth of the paranormal. Because people are interested in factual paranormal investigators. People are sick of the bullshit. And that's a threat to you. And that is why you have brought out this hit piece.
You have no substantive proof that any of it is fake. You know what I mean? I don't know. I hope this kind of made sense. It is like 2:45 in the morning, like I said. So, I don't know. I'm just trying to get through this and get my thoughts out there. If you guys have any questions, drop them down below. I'll try to respond as clearly and concisely as possible. Hope this made sense. Hope some of these points kind of resonate.
It made perfect sense to me, and a lot of it did resonate with me. It made perfect sense to me that this is a hit piece that 700 people have watched. And you have no idea that you're in an echo chamber. At least I'm aware I'm in an echo chamber. I could say the moon is fucking pink, and people will believe me, and I'm aware of that, which is why I try to be careful with what I say. Everything is spot on. There were a few little pieces that I agreed with in that video, but none of it was related to the paranormal, unfortunately. Yeah, you can have quiet nights, but to see, sometimes these locations are quiet is the exact opposite of how the paranormal works. Dylan Stevens from Haunted Nights, this was a hit piece. It was a well-crafted hit piece to the uneducated or to people that don't go out and investigate. But anyone on the planet that has done a handful of investigations will know full well that you were talking out of your ass from the majority of that, or at the very least skewing the view in to clear yourself of any wrongdoing in debunkers' eyes and your community's eyes. Like, don't watch the debunkers unless they only go after location histories or people that are clearly caught pulling strings. So yeah, I mentioned this thing. I'd seen bits of it on live streams. I said, he comes across well, and he seemed to have a well-crafted argument. And people in my comment section were like, you need to go and watch the full thing because that's not how it was. I've now watched the full thing, and yeah, you have absolutely skewed everything in there to make debunkers look bad, make yourself look better, and see. But you don't have to pay any attention to the debunkers in regards to us, because we'll never invite them, because I'm not paying for them to change my investigation, to change my video. That's not something any of us do. We all turn up and say, do what you normally do, and then if you want my feedback, fine. Not a great look, that. I know that Dylan's channel is a smallish channel. I know that this video hasn't got a lot of views, but a few people have asked me about it in live streams. A few people have inboxed me about it. You need to look at this, because people disagree with you. And if you're entitled to have your say while sat in your house, in your room, slating me, or slating debunkers, allow me to sit in my room, reacting to you sat in your room, slating you back. That was just a one-sided, don't look at us, we are fine. It's only the outright fake that are allowed to be looked at. Otherwise, debunkers are nasty. That's the impression I got from that video. Not a good look for you, not a good look for your main channel. That was not an objective look into debunking and the paranormal. That was a, don't label me, don't watch debunkers, because I don't lie about history locations. So do please let me know your thoughts on the comment section down below. No toxic nastiness in this comment section or on his, please. Pretty please. I think it was an important thing to address, because this probably is the thoughts and feelings of all of the fakers on YouTube. Much love to you all. Beardo out.